What's happening? So Molly Ringwald. Oh God, and see if you were an 80s kid like myself, well, I watched those movies back in the day, Pretty in Pink, all that. But they represent a certain time. John Hughes was director, and I watched them. And they were cute. They were valley. They were very white. We knew that back then. Soundtrack might feature a black artist. They might have some, but it was tokenism, it felt. And they may have a black artist that they mentioned in the movie, like Michael Jackson or Prince or something like that, or Whitney or Janet, something like that. But it was tokenism, or Lionel Richie. It was tokenism. We knew they were white. She came out and confirmed recently that her movies were very, very, very white, and that if they did a remake today, they would have to be more diverse. And so I said, well, that's Captain Ivory. I think Stevie Wonder could see that. Duh. But the thing is, when she says this, are you speaking out because you know that you had white privilege, or are you speaking out because you know what's making you say this? And if you are you speaking out against the powers that be that fed you? And if you are speaking that way, then this is the thing. They gave you a special award to acknowledge you and your presence, but the thing is that would they take that back from you because of now that you're speaking out on it? So got me kind of wondering, because I remember watching those movies back in the day. I remember how big they were. I remember that they were geared. But when she said in the interview that they was a different time, I said, no, it wasn't. I said it was a time that was chosen to be different. Let me explain something. You had black people around back then. You just chose not to include them. You had black geeks, nerds, the whole nine. Molly Ringwald, if you ever watched that movie, the classic Fast Times at Richmond High, you had one main black character. His name was Forrest Whitaker with Sean Penn. Remember? Y'all just chose to be more white-fied. What's that Breakfast Club movie that you did with Judd Nelson? And you remember when Judd Nelson was in New Jack City and they had him looking like John B., hair all shaved down, glasses on. Then all of a sudden, Judd Nelson became J Nail. J Nail. That was his street name. New Jack J Nail. The thing is this. Don't change your horses, because this is what you are. Your films are what they were. But the thing is that when people try to say, well, that was acceptable to this. No, it wasn't. You chose that because the Hollywood plantation system wanted it all white and this to be all black. They don't never, ever conform unless you point it out. She was not going to mess up her white privilege. She wasn't going to come out and say, well, I wish we would have had a young Blair Underwood in our movie. Remember, Blair Underwood was in Crush Groove. He portrayed Russell Simmons biographical, remember? Blair could have been your love interest, Molly Ringwald, back then, couldn't he have? Semi-youngish, Portier-ish type, who would have had a credible role in that. Just point out how the contradiction of what you sit there and say, y'all just chose not to go find black actors or put black people in roles. Just like when I saw Soul Man back in 86 with C. Thomas Howell and they put black face on him. They did stuff like that because they segregated it and they kept it that way. That's privilege. Molly Ringwald speak the truth about white privilege. We know it was very white. Some of us liked your movies, but we knew what was up. We knew that we weren't allowed to participate. That's how it was. So what are you trying to say now? If he came back to the day, it had to be more diverse and all that. Well, that's Captain Ivory. I think Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles, rest in peace, could have seen it was very white. And it still is. It still is. They just make it up a bit to fit agenda. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another shitter if you like my piece.